On day 3 of our annual grouse and woodcock hunt in Eustis, Maine, the dogs stirred well before dark 30. A German shorthair elbow was gouging my ribs, so I hauled Prairie off the bed and slipped quietly out the door in deference to my roommate Cindy, who was still snoring under her blanket. I let Prairie out to pee, fed her, then tiptoed back into the dark room to slide her into her crate. 15 minutes later, above the bathroom sink while brushing my teeth, I heard screams similar to those in The Blob when the colossal jelly glob monster rolled down from the movie theater projection room, devouring everyone in sight. "Ah! Prairie! No! Prairie! No!" Couldn't be my dog. "That can't be Prairie. She's in her crate," I yelled. Red collar? One big brown spot on her neck? Trouble. Prairie had gotten caught scarfing 5 enormous homemade blueberry muffins off the table. Seems I hadn't latched the crate. And when Cindy shuffled into the hall, Prairie decided to top off her pro-plan with a bakery treat or 2. Or 5. So we tied her to the railing of the side porch and administered the guaranteed-to-make-'em-barf hydrogen peroxide. 7 minutes later, her lips curled back behind her ears, her tail tucked, and that unmistakable bar-umph sound began. Several huge balls of doughy muffin surfaced, technically resurfaced, and with her load lightened, we were ready to go hunting. Fast forward several miles up the logging road, a mile or so down a spur, and about 175 yards into thick brush that bordered the remains of a skidder trail. Prairie had only gotten birdie once, and I might have heard a grouse flush. With persistent bleeps coming from the same spot, her beeper told me she was working something. I glimpsed her head dipping down in the thick brush. Prairie is a connoisseur of rabbit turds and moose nuggets, but I figured she'd had enough unsanctioned food items that morning to be snacking again. She paid no attention to my whistle. Finally, a few loud beeps of her collar's locator tone brought her running in a funny skipping way, her paws swinging up to her snout. Porcupine quills. Lots of them. "Porcupine!" I screeched into my walkie-talkie, snapping a short lead on Prairie while calling my hunting partners for help. My young quill chomper and I started the walk out, stumbling through tangled raspberry bushes and decades-old rotten slash. Prairie mastered a fine 2-step, 2 steps forward, then swipe, 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 2 steps forward, swipe, swipe. By the time we staggered onto the road, she'd cleverly transferred a bunch of quills from her muzzle to her shoulder in a pattern identical to rotator cuff acupuncture. Patty, Measy, and Cindy waited by the truck. We threw a kennel mat on Measy's tailgate and flopped Prairie on top. I hugged her back end, worthlessly whispering calming words into her right rear flank. Cindy consoled the front end. Patty found a stick to use as a dowel to keep Prairie's mouth open. Then they went to work. Patty and Measy are experienced quill pullers. 45 drooly, bloody minutes later, the quills had been removed from her shoulder, mouth, jowls, and tongue. Prairie was ready to resume hunting. Side note, dogs' resiliency is amazing. If we humans had gone through that, we'd need a week off to lay on the couch, put cool compresses on our faces, and feel monumentally sorry for ourselves. The next cover was a favorite, where the road tapered to a trail thickly grown with alders on both sides. Prairie only got birdie once, and I might have heard a grouse flush. More important, about a quarter of the way up the trail, something bright yellow dangling from my vest caught my eye. It was the batteries inside my Astro GPS. The battery cover had vanished, probably via the same attention I had given latching Prairie's crate that morning. Miraculously, it appeared nestled by a rotted log halfway back to my Jeep. Things were looking up. In the last cover we hunted, prairie only got birdie once, and I might have heard a grouse flush. But as we headed toward our cocktail hour rendezvous, a big grouse did indeed materialize on the side of the road. Glowing in the late afternoon sunlight, the plump partridge picked gravel and teased me with its arrogant attitude. I shut the motor off and shimmied my gun into my lap, digging into my pocket for 2 shells. With all the stealth a person can muster while wearing a bulging bird vest loaded with ammo, water bottles, and enough electronic equipment to stock a Radio Shack, I crept out the driver's side door and paced slowly towards the bird. The bird looked up. Then it looked away. As my barrels clicked close, it momentarily froze, then dashed across the road. I ran after it, snarling, "Fly! Come on, you lazy son of a grouse! Fly!" The bird scampered into the woods, crossing flattened leaves in an open patch. The devil on my right shoulder told me to shoot it on the ground. The angel on my left shoulder enumerated the sins that would be committed lying about how the bird was shot. And from the depths of the Jeep came the muffled cry of a bird dog, who understands that any bird taken without her help is flat-out wrong, since the muffins and quills and Hail Mary shots, running woodcock and elusive grouse made one thing clear. She and I were in this together. We returned to the Jeep, and I dug out the milk bones to give her a snack.